Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yo, what up, It's your boy Rubino.
And this DJ in the building.
And you listening to the UpNUp Podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know, just listen.
Yes. Welcome.
Yo.
You awake over there, man?
Yeah, bro, it's just a little fruit fly over here.
Oh, man, you know,
But yeah.
take care of them. For those of you tuning in, you were listening to the UpNUp Podcast. I'm your host, Rubino.
And I'm DJ man.
Yes, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, bro.
You
Feeling
good? You
yeah.
feeling great?
Yep, it cooled
right,
down
man.
a little bit, so you know.
Yeah,
cool.
it is. It's getting a little cooler, but you know what? We're going to heat it up. We're going to heat it up with this episode.
Let's do it.
Before we get to it, I do want to shout out, all the viewers, all the listeners, all the supporters, strong supporters out there of the UpNUp. Like I say, hence the name UpNUp. We're a platform dedicated to, cultivating the culture, right? Sharing amazing stories of individuals who are on the UpNUp grinding, going after their visions, their goals, their dreams, letting nothing get in the way of that, right? And please make sure to rate, subscribe, review. You can catch all our episodes on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, all that, and some.
Like, subscribe, all that.
There you go. So now, again, if you are a consistent viewer or listener of the show, we always come with the guests, right?
Yeah. I'm getting my coat ready. My coat.
I know. This is for the listeners who ain't familiar. So we always have a great guest with an amazing narrative behind them. But I do want to introduce this man because, today's guest, I would say he's a man who's obsessively engaged with the idea of living in a more interconnected world, right? And helping others do so as well. I would say he's a true visionary who's always keeping everything he's doing on the UpNUp, right?
For sure.
Otherwise, like I said, he wouldn't be in this seat today. Yeah. Someone who's, helping people all over the world have the most genuine experience when it comes to traveling, if I can say that.
Yeah.
He's providing a platform for traveling visitors to connect with locals in countries and cities worldwide. He is the founder and CEO of Gage Travels. Our guest is none other than the dedicated, determined, and jet setter himself, Soffonias Gebrehiwot. Can we get a round of applause for my guy in the building?
That was a lot of gas.
Yes.
That was a lot of gas.
Premium, man. Premium.
Pedal to the metal.
Hey,
okay.
man, you know what I'm saying? Gas prices are high, man. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep it up.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming to the show.
It's an honor to be here.
Thank you for coming to the show.
We appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. So if you're not familiar with the show, I'm not sure if you are, but we always start the show with a quote of the day, right? It's just to get the vibe right, get our minds right.
Okay.
And, my brother across the way over here, he always got them, man. He's a wordsmith. He's a young poet out there, man. So what you got for us today, DJ Arm? What you got?
Right, so the quote of the day today is, every day is a journey, and the journey itself is home.
Who was that by? Is that anonymous?
Matsuo Basho.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I can pronounce that last name, but
and the journey itself is home.
The journey itself is home. And so we bring in the quotes, obviously, to tie into our guest's story. And I think it ties in directly to your story, right?
Yeah.
And saying that the journey is home talks a lot about, being comfortable in the process of building whatever it is you're trying to build, which is your dreams, most likely. But before we jump into everything you're currently involved in with Gage Travels, I do want to kind of scale back and take it back a little bit.
Okay.
To kind of the early upbringings, kind of where did it start for you? Where were you born, and how did the place you grew up in kind of inspire what you're doing now, if you could?
Yeah. So I was born in Ethiopia.
Okay.
In 91, October 10th.
Great year.
Great year.
Lucky Libra,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was born in Ethiopia, moved out to the U.S. when I was just before I turned 5 in 96. Moved out straight to Seattle, and I've been in Seattle ever since. I did high school, college, first official job located at Seattle. Yeah. So pretty much Seattle's home.
So coming up in this city, you've seen a lot of, I guess, changes, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
evolution.
Oh my
and
goodness.
growth. So what are some things that you kind of were drawn to early on in your life, like whether it was high school when you started realizing, okay, these are my interests and I want to explore those? Did you have those?
Yes. For me, so when I was 6, I told my parents that my dream was to be an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So first it was always like, I like arguing with people and I like winning arguments.
That's the route to go, right?
Yeah. And my parents, majority of our parents were like, oh, you have to become a doctor, you know?
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, no, I don't want to become a doctor. I'm going to argue and become a lawyer.
Yeah.
But as I grew older, I don't feel really like it was my interests that led me in the direction I was going.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was also kind of like my limitations. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
like in high school, freshman year, I was playing football, right? I was swinging between JV and varsity towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, man, I'd love to be an NFL player, you know?
Yeah.
But after sophomore year, I came to that realization that wasn't where my blessings were.
Yeah.
You know, I was playing defensive end. God wasn't going to give me another 5-6 inches to go to an actual D1 school.
You just keeping it real with yourself.
Yeah.
I just kept it real,
Yeah,
you know?
Okay.
And so I left football after my sophomore year.
Yeah.
And I decided that I felt like I had to invest in my brain. You know, I literally had to invest in school because I felt like that was the only way to establish my family, essentially.
Okay.
So the junior year I went in, and I think that was the first time I kind of made like an adult decision, you know, where I took as many AP classes as I could. And that junior year I landed my first internship at Microsoft doing marketing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Nice.
that was my first internship, and that kind of just started me in the professional world.
And then you obviously went on to UW and graduated from there.
Yep.
And so coming out of UW, and we do want to get to Gage, right? But what were some of the things that you experienced that maybe told you, you know, when I get out of school, I don't know if I want to work for somebody. I don't know if I want to go down that career path route. Like, what did you know at that moment when you were in school, or was it something that just hit you after you got out?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Like, coming out of college, I was pumped. Like, last year of college, in the beginning, I was studying for my LSATs to go to law school. I didn't give up that dream. I didn't want to give up on that dream, even though I was finishing with an engineering degree. But I had always known that I never wanted to be an engineer, because I want to use that degree to open doors for me and hopefully go into, I thought at coming into college, either consulting or law school, and become like a patent attorney or a tech consultant or something. So I was studying for my LSATs, and then I got an offer at Accenture, which was the number one tech consulting company in the world, right?
Okay.
And I was like, all right, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't, I'm going to leave and start my own company. It was, all right, now how do I make partner at this company as fast as possible? You know, how do I climb the corporate ladder as fast as possible?
The corporate ladder.
Right? I imagined that I would be climbing the corporate ladder and really giving and helping outside of work.
Yeah.
You know, I had separated those two parts of my life, and I was comfortable with it. I never really thought, oh, I want to start my own company till later down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of an organic progression that led
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what was it like when you actually made that step and was like, all right, I'm about to actually go do my own thing now?
Scary.
Yeah.
Like,
I bet. Yeah.
To keep it real, it was like, because it's, so I first had the idea of Gage in August 5th. So like a couple days from today, 2 years ago.
Wow.
Right? So
Anniversary coming up.
Anniversary's coming out August 5th, Sunday.
Hey,
It's the Sunday.
we're going to turn up.
Okay, cool.
And
Yes, sir.
when I had the idea, it was more of a, hey, why don't people travel to new places? People are oftentimes, actually, it kind of started with me. I wasn't able to really afford to travel until I graduated college. And all of a sudden, I saw Accenture checks coming in.
And you're making money.
Yeah, I was finally making money.
Yeah.
And that's when I started being able to really travel, outside of the U.S.
Okay, so I don't want to cut you off there, but before we get into Gage, if you can explain what the platform is and what its mission is, and then we can kind of dive a little bit deeper into the process of building it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Gage is a travel platform, and we help you travel like local. We're really building the infrastructure around how to help you travel outside your comfort zone. And our mission is to use travel as a medium to empower individuals to engage with the world and people around them in hopes of expanding both local and global perspectives.
Okay.
I like that.
That's dope.
See how he just did that like
Yeah.
that? Like the back of your hand.
I mean, this is my life.
Yes, sir. Talk about it. And no, I just brought that up. I wanted you to touch on that because I was looking through the web platform, and there was an interesting quote that I pulled that I found on there, and it goes as such. By using travel as a medium, we are empowering individuals to engage with the world and people around them, expanding their local and global perspectives.
Yes.
Now, I bring this up because I'm sure you're a well-traveled person. I would hope so.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Or at least I would say.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He ain't faking the funk out here. He's been around, okay? But I bring that up because I wanted to ask you, was there a moment in your times traveling when maybe you realized my perspectives, are kind of out of whack? I don't really know as much as I thought I did when you went to a certain country or city.
Every country I go to.
Okay.
Every country I go to. Like, that's really what it was. It was, I realized that I love traveling to new countries because it was such a humbling experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll go somewhere and I would automatically assume that this is the only way of doing one thing.
Yeah.
And I'll see someone else doing it differently. And I'll be like, why is their way wrong? You know what I mean? It made me question my own perceptions. And what started off as that made me be like, all right, I want to travel new places. And then going back to the question earlier, I was, friends would be like, oh, you went to, you were just in Barbados, weren't you? And I was like, you were just in Vegas, weren't you? And like that, they were trying to be like, oh, you're always traveling. And I'm like, you're always traveling too.
Yeah.
Why aren't you going somewhere else? Because when I go to Vegas, like flight, hotel, everything, you're spending at least what, $600-700?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say
On
after
average.
a good weekend in Vegas?
For sure.
If not more.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right?
Unless you know people.
Unless
you
you really know people.
Make some
Yeah.
shit happen. But yeah, that's the standard though, for sure.
That's the standard. And I went to Barbados round trip from Seattle for $400.
God damn.
We split the hotel cost in two. After the hotel for 3-4 days, total I spent what, $650?
Barbados.
Put it on the map.
With the
Rihanna.
flight?
With the flight.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
All right, looks like I'm about to
You know
go to
what I mean?
Barbados
so
too.
we're gonna talk after the show.
But I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
These type of opportunities exist and they're out there, but people don't always know where to look or how to look. You know what I mean? And once I realized that, I was like, all right, what else is what's another reason why people aren't traveling somewhere new?
Yeah.
And I realized is that level of comfortability. Like you may not be willing to just go jump on a flight and go to Barbados versus going to Vegas because Vegas or people that have gone to Vegas. So you're already mentally comfortable with Vegas.
Well, I mean, it's in America, so we all.
So it's like familiar.
Exactly.
In a
It's
sense.
familiar.
Yeah.
So how do we help new destinations become familiar to you? Like
Wow.
how do we help you travel outside your comfort zone? And that's really the small bits and pieces that we're working on.
Wow.
No, I feel you. I mean, that's a good point because, like you said, you travel a lot, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when you go to these places and you see, it changes your perspective. You want to share that with people, right?
Absolutely.
You want to get people out there, like,
Yeah.
man, go to this country. This country's dope. And I mean, I've heard you say it plenty of times, just off the muscle, just like, hey, man, this country's filthy. We should go here and try this, try that. So
And you don't want to withhold
dope.
that. You don't want to withhold that information too. It
Yeah.
doesn't help. It doesn't help. If only you know. Shit, man. When he goes to this country, they about to be on his head for the shit he does.
Yeah.
Like you want to tell people that. Look, hey, man. I know you like to wear your hat to the back, but over here, don't do that shit.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? I don't know what country that is, but I would like to know because I
Like-
wear my hat to the back all the time.
Like,
If that's a thing.
and there are rules. No,
No, it's real though.
it's
I know
real.
what you mean. That's just funny
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
But yeah.
Like, for instance, a dollar falls on the ground and it starts floating away. Right? What's your first instinct? Stop the dollar.
We're gonna
Yeah.
step on that.
Step on
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
right? In Thailand, that's illegal. In Thailand, that's illegal because you're stepping on the king's face.
Oh my god.
What?
Right? Yeah, that could be an offense. I'm dead serious.
What if it's your own dollar?
It doesn't matter.
Oh hell no!
Right? but like these are cultural norms that
did you discover that through your own experience? Did you drop $1 and had it fly away, or did you try to pick one up and?
No, thank God that I didn't have to experience this. But it took me hours and hours and hours of research.
Okay.
To come up on this type of information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the amount of research that I had to do to every single city I was traveling to at least experience the city and not just get drunk every night. Yeah. You know what I mean? It took hours and hours of research.
Yeah.
So because of this, I was like, there has to be an easier way. Yeah. And if there's an easier way, it will certainly help you be okay to going somewhere new. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
no, definitely, and it does break down a lot of barriers, cultural barriers. I mean, call it what it is, man. A lot of the issues that we face in this world are all because our perceptions are out of whack and they're not aligned, you know. And do you see that as well as Gage being able to impact, political and social issues as well? Is that something that you can foresee in the future?
To be 100% honest, one thing that I learned throughout this process is that it's not that our perspectives are really out of whack, but is that our perspectives are unique to us in our living situations. You know what I mean? Because if I grew up in a certain part of the world, I'm going to only know the norms of that part of the world versus growing up in Seattle. You know, like people that grew up in Seattle may have a different perspective than those that grew up in Mexico, in Lagos, Nigeria. You know
even in different states, it's like that too. In different states.
In the South, in the North, in the East, in the West, right? And it's not that any one of us is completely wrong or anything like that, but it's just a matter of the more we talk and the more we understand one another, it will open up our own perspectives along with whatever the local's perspective is. You know, and that's really what's unique to traveling, right? You're able to impact multiple individuals at once.
Yeah. No, that's so necessary. Yeah. That's so necessary in today, especially for our generation who's growing up. You know, people are coming into disposable incomes now. They're able to spend money and shit. You got to know where you're going and why you're going there before you get there, right? Yeah. But we're going to have some app talk right now.
Yeah,
right?
we got. That's what I was. Yeah.
That's what I'm over here looking at me like, can we get to the fucking app?
All right. So, you talked about process right now, right?
Yeah.
So, speaking about processes, what were like some of the steps you took to turn Gage from an idea to like an app?
Yeah. So, as soon as I had the idea, August 5th of 2016. So my background in undergrad, I studied human-centered design engineering. And that's pretty much the process of how do you build a product that's centered around the human, around the person, right? So I first questioned my own theory, right? I had a hypothesis that people didn't travel to new places because they didn't know someone there. So I had to test that hypothesis. So I went to Europe for a month, and currently Europe is the number one international region to travel to, right? So I went to Europe for a month, and I hit 7 countries, 13 cities. And pretty much for about a month, I was asking people, like, what are your pain points in traveling? How can I solve your traveling pain points, right? And it came back down to 3 primary things. Number 1, budget. Number 2, not knowing someone there and not knowing a local. And number 3, FOMO. You know, fear of missing out, not knowing how to navigate a city, how to get around the city, right? And so I went from there, then did market research for a few months, and then I built up a business plan at how do I attack all 3 of these pain points over, a 10, 15 year span, right? And then you realize that I'm not going to spend too much time in 5, 10 years down, but I do need to understand how the company is going to progress over these next 3, 4, 5 years.
Got you.
What is the first phase that's going to be let out? What's the second? What's the third? And you build yourself a roadmap. And then once you build that roadmap, or once I started building that roadmap, I knew what phase 1 was, and I brought in the first person to do our UX. His name's Matthew.
Shout out Matthew.
Shout out Matthew.
Hey, and it starts with just putting it down on a piece of paper. Yeah. Right? Like you said, we talk about that all the time. We've had guests come on this show and literally say, just get it out of your head. Just get
Mm-hmm.
it out of your head. Put it on your iPhone. Put it on a sticky note. Goddamn, write it wherever you got to write on the fridge. It don't matter. Just get it out your head and put it somewhere.
Yeah.
So no, that's good. That's a really key message that people need to hear this, man. In terms of, because everybody got ideas, man. Everybody got dreams and things they want to build, but again, it comes to mapping it out and manifesting it for real.
It's one thing I learned is there's no such thing as the right time. If you're gonna go for it, just go for it. Just start it. You got to start somewhere.
For sure.
No matter if you don't know where to start, just start somewhere. Start running around asking people. Like, what's a tip you give me? Whatever tips you get, just start following the road. You know what I mean? And eventually, you'll start going in the right direction. You know what I mean? I was going in circles in the very beginning. I was I felt like a chicken running around with my head cut off. You know what I mean? And then I'll ask someone for wisdom. I'll get a little tidbit over here. Then I'll realign and redirect myself, go forward, and then go in circles again. And then go forward.
But you're looking back, and it all makes sense now.
Oh, it all makes sense.
All those, running around in circles and, getting the, people beating around the bush and not giving you straight answers and this, that, and the third. It all makes sense now. And you had to go through that.
Oh yeah, it every part of the journey has, like, you can either accept something as a learning lesson, or you can let it just overwhelm you. You know what I mean? It's your choice.
You're right.
Fight or flight. What are you gonna do?
That's real.
For real.
I like that one. I like that. Now, since you did bring up the app and kind of the inner workings of the app, I do see I see a lot of value in Gage Travels, simply because I see a lot of apps and a lot of them are short-lived, right?
Yeah.
They don't have sustainability, because it's not something that most times it's not an app that literally aligns with someone's day-to-day life, right? So it doesn't have that emotional connection to them. And with Gage, I see that, right? I see that there's a vision in place. You see a void. You see people love to travel. They need to be more connected with each other. And maybe they want to be, but they don't know how.
Yeah.
And you found a way to fill that void. And this is something they can use every single day of their life.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about, for those who are watching, how important creating a sustainable vision is before you go out there and try to build something and go get a UX guy or whatever it is, how important is building a sustainable vision?
It's, to me, sustainable vision is really your why. Why are you doing what you're doing?
Talk about it.
You know what I mean?
All the time, bro.
Like,
I feel you.
Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Is it for money? Is it, does it serve a greater purpose? That's really what it comes down to. And for me, my why was out of that. When I told you I traveled for a month, on the last night I was in Munich, Germany, right? And I was having dinner. I went to a restaurant that was recommended by locals, right? And I'm having dinner, and before I even get to order, these two ladies come and approach me, and they're like, "Hey, can we take these two seats?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead, take these two seats."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, they're gonna take it somewhere else, right? Instead, they just sat there, and I'm just like, "What in the world is going on?"
Uncomfortability right there, right? Yeah.
Right? And then the waiter comes like everything's normal, and he takes our order, and I'm like, "Hey, they're not part of my party, And so we're in Germany, right?
Yeah.
And the guy looks at me, he's like, "You must be American," with a grin on his face. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm American." And he's like, "This is normal here. When the tables all fill up, people start joining in on other people's tables if there's room."
Yeah. That's dope.
I was like, "Oh, I'm weird for
Yeah.
feeling a certain way about this."
It's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's me.
Like,
yeah.
Why, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Why would people just stand outside in a line if there's three more seats and I'm okay with them sitting there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, we start talking, right? And then one of the ladies, she tells me she had just recently turned 83. And it was her and her daughter. Her daughter would, I would say, mid-50s, late 50s, right? And before you know it, we're talking for like an hour and a half. Like, our meals are done. They finish their wine. You know what I mean? We're holding up an amazing conversation. And we're covering things from, literally, they're asking me, "Oh, what's your perspective on Trump running for president at the time, right? So they're like, Trump's running for president. And then they're also asking me, like, how does it feel to be black in America? Because from the media, what we see is we just see cops killing people.
Wow.
You know? And I'm, like, telling them my perspective. And then I'm asking them questions that range back to, you know, what was Hitler Germany like, you know, to all the way to modern day Germany, and how has, you know, World War II affected y'all?
Because we don't have those opportunities.
That's crazy.
Right?
That's crazy.
We never have those opportunities to talk about these type of things.
We don't.
We just get there's just a goddamn mediator in the
Right.
middle.
For real.
There's a mediator called the media.
There we
right?
go. There we go.
I like that one. There's a mediator called the media that, you know, that continuously shapes our views and within our own social circles, you know, and even in different parts of America, we think about different things very differently, you know? And when I was out there, like, I was mind blown at what they're saying, right? And finally, when we were leaving, they were like, thank you, Soffonias. And I was like, for what? And they're like, thank you for sharing your perspective with us, because we've never heard something like this from an individual like you, you know? And I was like, well, thank you, you know? I appreciate it, and it was my honor, right? And then that night is when it really hit me, you know? It hit me that as a traveler, it's not only my perspective that I'm impacting, I'm also impacting locals, right? And traveling is mutually beneficial to both locals and travelers, right? It's a two-sided marketplace,
For sure.
you know? And once I really realized its benefit, that was my why, you know? I'm doing this because it can impact so many more people than what I had originally thought. You know? And when I saw its impact, and I'm looking around the world and I'm seeing, you know, like what was Florida, just, you know, the football team, right? The no kneeling ban, right? And the NFL, right? And like you see all these things that are happening in our world. I'm like, we need to be able to talk more. We need to be able to connect more. You know? And so once I found my why, I knew that I had to start working towards it. And then finally I came to a decision of, it's time to jump in.
And I think the
That's
dope
crazy.
I think the dope thing about it is and thanks for sharing that story. And taking us down that road. You're a really good storyteller. I thought we were in a restaurant right now. But you know, it goes back to like we said, a lot of times, you know, people use apps, but I feel like with Gage, I feel like it's one of those apps you're gonna discover yourself within it.
That's the goal.
And there's not a lot of apps that could do that for me. You know what I'm saying? You can't really discover yourself through mobile apps, but that's something I really appreciated. And I do want to also touch on something. How old are you right now?
I'm 26.
26 years old, and you're a well-traveled person, right?
How
many countries have you been to so far?
Now I believe it's 21, 22.
So almost every year of your life you've went somewhere. Almost. You're 5 years away. So since the age 5, this guy's been traveling. All right, let's just say that.
Pretty much since I came to America, I started traveling. No, I actually didn't. My first time going out of the country, outside of going to Vancouver, was my last year in college. There was a study abroad program, and it was just a 2-week seminar, and it was to Italy, and that was my first time traveling. And that was about like 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago-ish.
You've seen a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have.
I've seen some shit, yeah.
Okay. Well, if you can, what was one of the craziest stories you've seen, or you can tell? Like, you've been a lot of places, so like there's obviously something that stuck out. You're like, God damn, let me tell you about this time I was in.
Yeah. What kind of story you want?
I mean,
or something like just mind blowing, like something that you never.
Yeah, it don't got. Yeah, you picked the content.
Okay. You want to be honest with you? This is something very subtle, but I think it blew my mind.
Okay.
So the first time, I was when I was working for Accenture, and I was consulting. We had a client that was in Kansas City.
Okay.
Right, and so they signed me to this project, and I was like, man, Kansas City? I gotta travel to Kansas City, and for me, it was a whole lot of what is there to do in Kansas City. I'm gonna sit there and be in the hotel room. There's gonna be nothing to do, you know, And for like when I'm about to actually get going, this is early November, right, during elections, and my mom is like, be careful when you're out there. You know what I mean? Like you need to really watch your back. And my friends are telling me the exact same thing. You know, they're worried about like different like racist or someone hurting me, right?
Yeah.
And then I went out there and I was like, oh, this is not actually bad.
Yeah.
And then the elections came around, right? And I remember that it was, you know, Hillary versus Trump, and literally every single one of my friends had texted me the night before, like, don't leave your hotel room tonight. It's not worth it, you know? Who knows what's gonna happen, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, like that affected me, you know, like I didn't leave the hotel. Instead I went to like a lobby upstairs in the hotel, you know, because I was like, all right, I don't know what's going on.
But y'all know that I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
okay, like y'all are so scared about this that it's affecting me and how I live my life, you know? So I went upstairs and the whole elections happened and Trump won. And the next day I went out to work, right? And nothing happened. Nothing was different. You know what I mean? The same kind, humble individuals that I met in Kansas City were still the same people. You know what I mean? The same people that welcomed me with open arms, you know, and showed me what Southern hospitality means. We're still the same people.
Yeah.
You know, my bad. Kansas City's in the Midwest. You know?
Yeah.
Midwest
hospitality.
Hey man, that's how hospitality travels, bro. It travels.
It traveled up north to Kansas City.
It ain't stuck in the South, but
But I think that was something that was eye-opening to me. You know, that our perception of even the Midwest and different parts of America can be so skewed by what media has shown us. You know what I mean? And when I actually went out there, some of the nicest people I've ever met live in Kansas City, you know, in New Orleans, you know, and just Dallas. I was recently in Dallas, and you know, like I was trying to promote something for Gage and going to this print shop, and I met this lady, and she was so helpful. Like I would have never expected it, you know. But constantly seeing such different images portrayed that I would have never expected till I finally had my mind opened.
Yeah. No, I feel you, because, I mean, it takes me back to the story you told in Germany, you know? Because it's like, it's educational in a way, you know, through experience. So it's like, you're just like, even when you told me that story, I was like, damn, I feel like I want to go travel somewhere and talk to somebody and see how it is over there and see what their perspective is on us, you know? And kind of share that. Yeah, that's dope, man. That's crazy. That's mind blowing for me, you know.
It is. I mean, we just got to get out our own heads, man. We stay in our own heads a lot, and again, you know, maybe sometimes, especially nowadays, we're all in our phones. Might as well be in an app that's gonna goddamn open your mind a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna make you get out the house instead of stay on the couch. You know, get out the country if you can afford it, if you're willing to look for the deals. Like you said, they're out there. Now, I do want to touch on something that is very exciting was very exciting, still is very exciting, I guess. The Secure the Flight marketing campaign you guys launched not too long ago.
Hashtag Secure the Flight. It's
hashtag Secure the Flight. Now, that was huge. And for those of you who don't know, you guys put together a marketing campaign as an incentive-based marketing campaign to give away 2 tickets to anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the United States. Anywhere domestically.
Okay, right? Domestically. Let me get that.
Let's start somewhere.
Yeah. Anywhere domestically. For those who have shared the latest, craziest, most amazing pictures, videos, visuals, right?
Yes.
I get it down? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I missed something, go ahead. You can tell me.
No, that was exactly
So
it.
how was that experience, though, like rolling it out?
A lot of learning.
Okay.
A lot of learning. Because, like, if you just look at, you know, what does a marketing campaign entail? You know, there's so much strategy that goes behind it.
Too much sometimes.
Is it?
It could be sometimes.
You can over-engineer things, and I completely agree.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Because sometimes, like you said, you just got to do it. You know, sometimes you might be overly strategizing, but
you know, and really, what I learned at the end of the day is similar to something I had studied, and it's that constant feedback. Right? Constantly being in, like having your ears to the streets, you know what I mean? And constantly learning and revisiting what the game plan for the contest is. Right. When we first launched the contest, the idea in mind was, all right, however many people enter the contest, we'll choose a winner. And then we realized that more individuals at the time are definitely they want to participate, but they don't want to put themselves out there to be judged, right?
Yeah.
And then so when we realized this, we decided, all right, we should go with the finalists, right? And once we have finalists, people can vote, right? People can get their own people engaged.
Vicariously, just be like, you know what? That should be me, but it's okay.
And our thing was, how do we help our community truly engage with one another? And that marketing campaign, constantly user feedback, people start asking, what is lit? What is defined as lit? And so we did a little what is lit campaign.
What is it?
A mini one. And lit is truly a word that's not defined. You know what I mean? It's you define what lit is.
Yeah.
Right? And if we all believe something is lit, then it's lit.
Yeah.
If you believe something's lit, it's still lit.
Yeah, I mean, it's shining, it's illuminating, you know what I'm saying?
Like, because we might have our own perspectives of lit, you know what I'm saying? You might see something that's like, oh, yeah, that's lit. And I might be like, I think that's lit. And he's going to be like, oh, yeah, no, that's lit.
And then he goes, sparks up a blunt, like, that's lit.
You know what I'm saying? Or he's lit.
Right? So,
well, I feel you. There's a lot of definitions to it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I want to talk about that. So the finalists, you guys did select the winner.
Yes.
Is the voting closed?
There's
a winner.
There's a winner.
Who's the winner? Do you want to announce the winner here?
The winner is Hanan.
Hanan.
Yes.
Shout out to Hanan.
So
did she get her tickets?
To be honest, shout out to all the finalists.
Oh yeah, shout out to all the finalists.
Shout out to
everybody that participated.
Every single person that participated.
Yeah, let them know, man.
You
that was huge, man. It was dope because a lot of people, they just have a bunch of photos, visuals in the cut, whether it's in their memories, and you don't have a chance to share with the world, so that was dope. But talk a little bit about the finalists and then the winner.
Okay, so finalists came down to I believe it was Hanan, Haley, Segan, Sabra, Elias.
Okay.
Oh, I know I got it. Winta.
Okay. Damn, their pictures must have been lit.
Oh, their pictures.
There were so many
videos.
submissions. There were so many submissions.
It was dope. That whole thing was dope.
I believe.
Okay.
And last but not least, Bailey.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, shout out to all of them for
all
engaging.
All 8 finalists.
For engaging.
Had to certainly give them a shout out.
Yeah.
Now, and I just brought that up because that was just a really dope marketing campaign that you guys did, and I'm sure the winner is very happy.
Yes.
Where's she going? Did she
hasn't decided yet. She has up to a year to claim her tickets. So she tells us where she wants to go.
Okay.
And we'll book her tickets. But this is something that we really believe in. We had a secure the flight contest because we want to help people that are always able to travel also start traveling. And we want to start hosting different contests around different things with different activities to get people on a flight.
Yeah.
To literally help people have more of these experiences.
Get them off the couch.
Get them off the couch.
Go explore some shit.
And to be honest, like, we want to really help one day get to level of helping people that don't have the means to travel start traveling, even if it's domestically.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I think domestically is important too.
Like you need to start somewhere.
It really is, man. Especially for like if you want to talk about it, like those who are in disadvantaged communities and shit where they cannot even go and visit New York or LA or something that they watch on TV every day, and all they know is their surroundings. So
yeah,
definitely, bro. There's so much possibility with this platform, for sure.
I'm definitely tapped in with it for sure.
Oh yeah, man.
I can't wait to,
And make sure you let us know when you about to do another secure the flight. You know what I'm saying? Just give us a little hint ahead of time.
I'll make sure to
because
to let you know.
Yeah.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all got an algorithm or something you could let us know about too. We could try to get to the top of that list. I'm trying to get away, man. Like Lenny Kravitz.
It's cool. I'm gonna win fair and square, man. Don't worry for the next one.
We're gonna definitely do another contest for the app launch.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is coming up here soon.
Yes. The app launch.
So in the next few weeks, as we get ready to launch version 1 of the app.
Hey.
Okay.
We're gonna do another contest around it.
Yes,
Nice.
sir. Yes, sir. You got a question?
I mean, no, not really.
Okay. I want to ask this question. So, and I always ask this for every guest that shows up.
Actually, before you do that, I do want to ask a question.
Okay. Here we go.
So, you might have touched on it before, but like, what advice would you have for young entrepreneurs that are trying to enter just the app space in general?
Yeah.
Just start it. Just start
Feel
somewhere. If you don't know where to start looking for that place to start. You know what I mean? Like for me, I had a background in technology, you know, and when I was at Accenture, I at least had some sort of product management experience from you know, beginning to end, like the different phases. But if you don't know the different phases of how an app gets developed, start reading there first. You know, once you figure that out, you continuously move on, right? Is this scalable? You know, can I create a business around it?
Yeah.
And most importantly, don't be afraid to reach out for help.
Wow.
Like
that's the one.
That's real.
Don't be afraid
That's
to reach
the
out
one.
for help.
That's the one.
There will be people that don't really want to help, or they'll say they'll help, and when push comes to shove, oh, I'm too busy, or this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But wherever you can attain wisdom, go after it.
Yeah.
Go after it.
Yeah.
And every bit of wisdom that you get, doesn't matter if the person's rich or poor.
Yeah.
You got to start piecing the puzzle together. Unless you're fortunate enough to have a person or 2, 3, 4 people that have actually had that experience and that will walk you along the course. I never was fortunate enough to have that.
Yeah.
You know, that's something I'm constantly looking for. Like, I'm constantly, even till this day, I'm like, where can I get wisdom?
Yeah.
You know, like, we are getting ready to launch version 1 of the app, but there's so much more beyond that. You know what I mean?
There is.
As the company grows, you know, we're getting close to getting to 10 people, you know? As the company grows from 10 to 50 to 100 to 1,000, how do we properly grow without exceeding our means? You know, how do we constantly keep people engaged with our brand? You know, and there's so much more to it that I'm learning as I go right now.
Yeah.
And I would love mentorship on.
Yeah.
And I would ask for mentorship.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will be like, yeah, you know, they'll give me 30 minutes. And sometimes people will be like, yeah, we'll give you 30 minutes, and they'll never answer the phone.
Yeah, I mean, it's out of your control. It's out of your control to some extent. But yeah, I think that's. I mean, ultimately, you know, just flex your engaging muscles, man.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, like you said, you
Start
know,
engaging.
Yeah, start getting. For real though, seriously, man. Like that's the closed mouths don't get fed. You know.
I feel you, and that's
Closed
you
mouths
know, you
don't
pretty
get
much
fed.
can't really focus on the people that's like shutting you out. You gotta focus on the people that's really willing to help you. Type.
Yeah. No,
Sure.
definitely.
Yeah,
And with that said, I do want to leave you with this question here. If you can, my brother. If you can, I think you can. I think you can.
I hope
You
I
could.
If
I
you
will.
can.
I will. I will.
There we go.
That's another mindset. I will.
Okay. So if you can, my brother, what is one word to describe what keeps you on the up and up? He said he will. Talk a big
word.
game. You said he will.
One word.
He will. But you could elaborate though.
Yes.
I mean, truthfully, God. For me, that's what it is. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's
Amen.
every day in, day out. Like there's a lot of struggle, you know, and you know, it comes down to how dedicated are you? You know, how much are you willing to fight for it? You know, to what length are you willing to go? You know, I mean, the first time I was in front of a camera, it felt like it took a lot from me, you know, to actually do it. I'm an engineering and a business dude, you know,
behind the scenes.
I was behind the scenes, you know, and like even coming out to that level, you know, it takes a lot from you. You know, when you hear no's all around, or someone looks at your business plan and like, oh, this marketing piece sounds expensive, and I'm like, well, crap, now I need to go figure this out. You know, like secure the flight contest. I talked to an executive at a travel company who told me that he had trouble with his personal company that he had before that company, and it wasn't because the product wasn't amazing. His product was amazing, but he couldn't get it out to the people.
Yeah.
You know, once I heard that, I'm like, crap, all right, that means I need my marketing to be a whole lot further advanced, right? I need to make sure we have people that we can get the app out, you know? You take that and you just start running with it.
Yeah.
So
that's what's up, man.
Dedication.
God, man.
All that.
God is good. God is good all the time.
Amen.
All the time, man. And yeah, man, you know, we just want to thank you, man, for being a guest on the show.
Always.
And outside of that, just really sharing your story and, you know, dropping them jewels all over the studio, you know, dropping gems everywhere, because it's important. It's important that we have representation like this and people can hear how you did it and how you're still doing it and trying to do it, right? So yeah, I just want to thank you, man. Wish you, you know, all the success, you know, wish you the best of luck. And, you know, do you have any final remarks, people you want to shout out or anything, you know what I'm saying?
There's 1,000,001 people to shout out, so we're not going to start down that list.
I know,
you know. But we will say that if you're interested in Gage, we ask that you listen to this podcast, UpNUp,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yes. Click share on the YouTube, the Twitter.
Yes.
You know,
yes. Make sure to subscribe.
Make sure to subscribe.
Yes.
Definitely all that.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're interested in Gage, what we're doing, you want to be involved with this movement, go to gagetravels.com, and under the contact us, you can write us an email. You know, let us know what you're passionate about and how you think you'd be great with Gage, and we'll find something. You know, it just takes one email, and we'll get the ball rolling from somewhere. And yeah, outside of that, Gage Travels on Instagram.
Hey, let them know.
Gage Travels, we're just starting a Twitter.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they gonna know.
Gage Travels on Facebook.
They gonna know.
What else, man?
Trust. We're gonna make sure everybody's engaged.
Yes.
When I say engaged, you take my eyes be like engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you again, my brother. We appreciate you, and I think it's safe to say that Soffonias Gebrehiwot is officially a member of the UpNUp. Can we get a round of applause for my brother one time?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.